What up, y'all? It's your girl, Soliel Lindsey. I am the owner of Soul Rise Essentials, and tonight you are back for another episode of Soul Seek Conversations, which is our mental wellness podcast. Do y'all see anything new right above? So we have some new branding going on. We got a new logo. We have a new children's logo. And in addition to that, we also have a new podcast logo. So, we pulling out the stops. If you are new here, or maybe you haven't heard yet, this past July last month was our 2-year anniversary. So shout out to us, shout out to y'all, shout out to the Soul Tribe family for being so supportive. So, let me know what y'all think. Y'all want me to zoom in a little bit? Let me zoom in so y'all can see it. Y'all see it. So if you are new here, Soul Rise Essentials is, we are a mental wellness brand essentially, but on the product side of things, we offer mental wellness and affirmation apparel for resilient humans on the go. So how we do that? We make colorful, bright, uplifting, vibrant, Lord have mercy, I can't talk, vibrant merch to help you thrive on your best days and those in between. So peep the hat. This is our new aqua dad hat. It is the distressed version, and anytime we get a new hat, y'all, I rock it because I love it. Number one, they're colorful, and I designed them with intention. So color therapy is super effective. It can lift your mood. But I also wanted to do a color block collection for this year and this summer. So this will actually be on the website very soon. I did a test run. So there are some people that actually have this hat already. So it's like a bright yellow on the aqua blue. So yeah, if you lurking, then they will be on the site very soon. Behind us, you can see some other Pack Light merchandise that we have. What is Pack Light? Pack Light is reminding you to be light physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. Okay. I also have on my Pack Light black affirmation tee. If y'all don't know, right now, white Pack Light affirmation tees are on sale. Buy one, get one 50% off until they are gone. Okay. These black ones are also coming back in stock probably next week. Essential Dad t-shirts, if you're familiar with us already, y'all know that it's a big seller. Those are coming back. Hats are coming back. Listen, we have been doing a lot of pop-up events for the summer. It's been a goal of ours to just be more present in our local communities, and y'all have been showing up. We have welcomed so many new members to the Soul Tribe family, and y'all have sold us out of a lot of stuff. So I'm gonna pat myself on the back for that. I see Ameera is already in the building. What's up, Samantha Bell? Hey girl, what's up, Mrs. Green? Thank you for coming back. Thank you for the beautiful email that you sent, for being here last month on episode 22, and for coming back for 23. Y'all are in for an amazing treat. What's up, Cage Free? I know you have some Soul Rise Essentials apparel, because I know Ameera bought you some. Hey sis, welcome to the family. Y'all, tag some folks in the comments that you think will enjoy just a open, transparent, transforming, what else, child? Let me just read this. Soul Seek Conversations is a mental wellness podcast that exists to share stories of resilience, build global community, and for you to discover new ways to thrive via the brave voices of others. So if you know somebody that is going to enjoy that type of content, that type of podcast, you need to tag them right now, and you also want to forward this video to them and let them know to come on in the room, okay? Let them know to join the Soul Seek Conversation. And if y'all don't know, you can also subscribe to us on YouTube, Soul Seek Conversations, or you can type in Soul Rise Essentials, whichever one you prefer. Check out the playlist on our YouTube that is called Soul Seek Conversations, and all episodes will be found there. Of course, you can find them on our IGTV, but we have them on YouTube as well for other people that are not on the interwebs, on Instagram and on Facebook and all that stuff. So shout out to y'all. I see y'all tagging folks in the comments. I see Mr. Rick has joined us. Azure, hey y'all. I am so excited about tonight. I know I don't share a lot of personal things on this page about myself, but tonight I'm going to be bringing y'all more into my world. I had my twin sister come in on the April episode of Soul Seek Conversations. Again, you can go play that back on our YouTube. So y'all got a little bit personal. You learned a little bit more about me and my twin sister. Tonight you are going to learn about a very dear friend, somebody I consider my sister. I have been knowing this girl for forever, and she has quite a story. My mama just joined. Hey girl, she's in the living room watching my son. Okay, shout out to my mama. But y'all, it's gonna be I hope I don't cry tonight, to be honest. Have y'all ever watched a podcast where somebody cried? I don't know, but if that happens tonight, we are real, we are authentic over here. Shout out to the Soul Tribe. That's what we do, that's who we are. Okay, so we have I know I'm all over the place, but I did forget to share, in addition to our apparel, we also do sell necklaces. So right now I'm rocking my loved affirmation necklace. I've been on this love vibe, this love vibration for the last couple of months, and that's where I'm at right now. I might even stack it tomorrow. I meant to do it before the show, but got a little bit busy. I might stack it with my resilient necklace. So if y'all know somebody that is in need of some affirmation, some self-affirmation, some encouragement, that's in the middle of a transformation, that's on their healing and wellness journeys, and they need some love, and you want them to know how loved they are, how supported they are, how resilient they are, how proud of them that you are, for getting over whatever they're going through in life, or just, being in the midst of it, and you see how hard they working and they shining, go to Soul Rise Essentials and cop them some merch. Our brand is so amazing for gifts. I've gotten so many repeat customers for themselves, but also in addition to their family members, their loved ones, people they just really, really care about. They want to see you well. They want to see you whole. That is what this brand is about. And so go cop something for them. I have a code I want to share with you, Ameera 10. That's AMEERA10. That is in honoration. I said honoration, child. In honor of our special guest tonight, Ameera, she wanted me to share that code with y'all. So go shop. Get you 10% off your purchase. And in the future, if you want to get an additional code off, you can go to our website, and the pop-up will have an option for you to sign up for our text or our email list. So become a part of the VIP Soul Tribe, and you'll get like love and soul notes from me. You'll get a chance to vote on new merch, to shop new merch, to flash sales, child, all kind of stuff. Okay, so go sign up, and you'll get 15% off for that. If you have a resilient story that you want to share, you can always email us at mystory@soulriseessentials.com. That's SOL riseessentials.com. We just want to do a quick pre-interview, make sure it's a good fit, and we can set a date for you to become somebody that sits in the soul seat and shares your resilient story with the intention of just empowering and encouraging other people, like-minded people in the Soul Tribe, to just keep on pushing. Okay, that's what we're all about. I want to make sure I didn't forget any announcements, and then we're gonna bring our girl up in here, because I know y'all like, she be talking, but that's what I do on my podcast. Okay, I gotta update the people, let y'all know what's new, let y'all know what's happening in the Soul Rise world, and then we get to chit chat. But let me just check my notes real quick. Most importantly, y'all, I want to give a trigger warning. This is, again, Soul Seed Conversations is a mental wellness podcast, okay? Mental goes deep, you know what I'm saying? So we do touch on some things in this podcast, in this episode, and past and future episodes that may be triggering to some people. So I want you all to just be mindful of your triggers, mindful of what you can handle. So if you ever hear something tonight, in the past, or in the future that you're like, all right, this is a little too, I can't really visit this right now, go ahead and just exit off, maybe take a break, or you just make the decision to whether or not you feel this is something that you want to listen to right now. Maybe you can come back to it in the future, but we just want people to be mindful that we definitely touch on some deep stuff with the intent of just sharing stories to let you know that you're not by yourself, and that if somebody in your life is going through something similar, you can share this with them and hopefully encourage them. And we are not trained professionals. We are simply what do I always say? We're experts in sharing our lived experiences. That's it. So anything you hear tonight or any other episode, don't take it as advice. We're just sharing our lived experiences. Shout out to Miss Brittany Eller-B. Shout out to you for getting married, honey. A Touch of Faith Transportation. Hey, Azure says she got her love necklace on too. Shout out to you. Look, auntie, sister, NDH Royalty. Hey, y'all. How old am I? I am 32. Why you gotta be telling my age on this podcast, girl? But we are in sync. We always in sync, Azure, and I love that. All right, Ameera Boo, are you ready? What's up, Tori? You're welcome, my love. We celebrate all wins around here, okay? We love Black love, child. Yes. Wishing you all the happiness and success. Somebody tell my son to go lay down. I'm not playing with you. Go brush your teeth. Okay. I love you. Okay, guys. Oh, y'all want to see something? We're not playing on the branding over here. Everything is branded. We're not playing on the branding over here. Let me cover it up. Y'all don't even see that. Everything is branded. Oh, my bad, Azure. I thought I had to answer you now. Let me take a sip of water. Definitely gonna need it. Oh, what is that? We have a Soul Seed Conversations mug. Y'all, do y'all want Soul Seed Conversations mug? So y'all can sip on y'all tea and y'all water, y'all wine, and whatever else y'all business while y'all watch. I mean, do we want that? Because if we do, I can make it happen. I see you, Mimi. I'm coming, boo. Yeah, don't play with it, don't play with it, don't play with it. Shout out to Curl House. Hey, y'all. Happy belated birthday, Karen. Okay, let me sip this water, Ameera, and I'm coming, boo. Oh, I got to turn it on this side. I purposely got both logos on here, so like when I'm doing a podcast, I can sip. Don't play with it. Oh, that was so corny. Ain't that how the song go? Yeah. Don't play with it, don't play with it. I'm not an advocate of that type of music, but yeah, it was appropriate. All right. Thank you, Karen. All right, let me get you on in here, Mimi. Friends, so excited to have this conversation. I hope I don't cry. Lord have mercy. Be with me, Jesus. Don't start freezing. Anybody got time for that? Hey, my love. Look at you, all that hair, gorgeous. Hey, girl.
Hey. That's what two babies will do.
I love it. You had hair before the babies. Don't do yourself like that.
I did it.
Welcome to the Soul Seed, Ameera. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me. So grateful to be here. See your lovely face. I'm doing well.
Good.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing okay, girl. I was doing a lot before we started this episode, and I had to take some deep breaths and just woosah. But that's actually a new segment I have for the podcast. We are actually all going to take a mindful moment together. So I always like to do like I always do 4 deep breaths. That's my thing. So we're going to do that.
We should start right now.
Let's do it right now, because I know you're a mommy as well, honey, and you know all the things. And a wife. You know all the things that we got to do.
Girl, definitely need to recenter. You know how it is.
Yeah, so let's recenter. And Soul Tribe family, y'all can join us. This is an interactive podcast. Any questions that you have, y'all put them in the comments. All right, so I always do 4. So I'm going to breathe in for 4, hold for 4, and then breathe out for 4. You ready?
Ready.
Let's breathe in. One more. One more. Last one. That always does the trick for me. I don't know about y'all, but a couple of deep breaths always just do it for me. Like, relax the breaths. How are you feeling now?
I'm definitely ready now. A lot calmer. I was kind of already doing it like 15 minutes before this. So that's just the cherry on the cake right there.
Yes, it's the Zen vibes for me. Come through, Ameera. I'm loving what I'm feeling from you right now.
I love your energy. I'm like, man, I love her energy. I'm like, okay, my energy is so chill, like the water.
We always been like that though. Like, of course, when we were younger, you know, we were a little bit more extra, but I've been extra my whole life, but we've always been kind of opposites. I'm just really excited to talk about our friendship, but also to talk about you and your journey. So for those of you who don't know, this is Mrs. Ameera. You say your last name, child.
Duplanche Jacobs.
Duplanche, okay.
Duplanche.
So this is Ameera. I am going to let you properly introduce yourself to the Soul Tribe family and tell them who you are and what you do, all of that jazz.
Of course, of course. So my name is Ameera, as my beautiful friend introduced to me. And some of you may be following my Instagram, but if not, I am a singer-songwriter. And also I like to call myself a spiritual advocate. I'm a content creator on YouTube. My channel is called Vibe Divine, and I use my story of resilience and healing in hopes to inspire other beautiful souls on their healing journey in a nutshell. Oh, and I'm a mom and 2 girls and a wife to my lovely partner.
Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. So Ameera and I actually met when we were modeling back in our 20s. That's how we initially met. Facebook has introduced me to some amazing people. Like if you use social media the right way, it can truly be beneficial to your life personally and professionally. So we met as models back in the day, and we just kind of clicked and formed a relationship. And you know, all friendships and all relationships have their ups and their downs. So Ameera and I actually lost contact for a couple of years, and recently, within like the last year or two, we got back in contact.
Yeah, I was watching all the beautiful work that you were doing, and I think I actually ordered some pieces, and we got back in contact. But I've been following you, but we spoke recently, I think within the last year, yeah.
Yeah, and that was beautiful, man. Like this girl is like my soul sister, and I think now that I look back on our friendship and what we were going through at the time, I truly believe that, you know, we aligned in some way because of probably our trauma, to be honest. Like, of course, we liked each other when we first hung out, but when we first talked on Facebook, we didn't know about each other's past, each other's history, stuff like that. And so, you know, we found each other somehow, and then, of course, getting to know each other some more, spending more time with each other, just learning that we have more in common than what we realized. Maybe didn't go through the exact same things, but at a soul level, just had experienced some trauma as children, and we were just trying to work it out, child. In our 20s, 20-year-olds all over the place, you know, trying to figure out what we like. You know, we're dating, we're having fun, we going out, we are modeling, you know, being pretty, you know, doing all the things, child.
Yes.
And so before we get more into what I want to talk to you about, this is another segment that I added to the podcast, and it's called, well, it's just a simple question because it's a mental wellness podcast. I always like to check in with people and just see how they're doing, you know, in this moment. So how is your mental health right now?
I think overall my mental health is balanced, definitely. I think being a mom takes a lot more conscious effort to be centered. But, you know, overall, other than sleepless nights, I'm in a really good space.
Good.
Overall.
How are your babies? Well, how old are your babies is what I meant to say.
So my youngest girl, Ameera, she's 20 months and counting.
Mm-hmm.
And Anasa, she just turned 3. Her and her dad share the same birthday on July 15th. So she just turned.
She just turned how old?
3.
Okay. So you got an almost 2-year-old and a 3-year-old.
Girl, I have no idea where the time went.
Oh my gosh. Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
And to add more perspective to that, so she has an almost 2-year-old and a 3-year-old, and I have a 4-year-old. So we've been busy, child, making kids.
Yes.
It's just so beautiful to see. And we'll talk more about our journeys later, but that's just beautiful. Like to see where you are now, more centered, feeling more whole, more confident, more sure of yourself. You know what I'm saying? And to see you with a beautiful family. I know that's something that you've always desired. So when I saw that, I was just like, she got not one, but 2 little beautiful girls that like look like angels and look just like you. That's why I said, I hope I don't cry. That just brings like so much joy to me. And it seems like you're in a very loving partnership in your marriage. And so I love that. And I'm always going to uplift. I'm always lift up Black families, everybody family, child, but I'm Black. So I'm going to lift up Black families and Black love and healthy families and healthy Black love. And so shout out to y'all.
Thank you. Looking back, I honestly probably couldn't have perceived that I would be in this space in my life right now. I didn't even think it was possible, you know, to be in a healthy relationship and have the 2 beautiful children that I have. But more importantly, to have them and them not go through the same things that I went through, and I can raise them in a safe place. It's just a testament of how God works and how things can change in your life. So yeah.
Seriously. And that's why I had to have you on. So again, thank you for just allowing me to have you and also to share your story, because a lot of people don't want to share their stories. And this is something I was thinking about earlier when I was getting ready, honey, because we did a preview earlier. We both did not look like this. We cleaned up very well. But I was thinking about this when I was getting ready earlier about, you know, some people may look at what I do and how I am as a person and my transparency and what I do with this podcast. And, you know, they're in a different space on a different frequency. They may be like, why is she doing that? You know, why is she sharing a story? Why are they telling me business? so many people look at it like that. But for me, I know personally in my small little sphere of life and influence and my network, how many people personally have come to me and they're like thanking me for little things, you know, that I've shared along the way and on my journey. And I just know for me, that was the calling that God put on my life, for me to share my experiences because of the small influence that I have. People are looking at us. People are paying attention to what we do. And it was important for me to let people know, like, I'm not perfect, y'all. I'm human just like the rest of y'all. You know what I'm saying? Just because I get to do some cool things where I'm from and in my city doesn't mean that I'm not perfect just because I'm more visible than some people.
Right.
And so for me, at a certain level on my journey, it was important to share some authenticity because people were looking at us as models like we have it
Right.
all together because we always look good in pictures and on
No
videos.
term.
No,
No term.
no, ma'am.
Yeah, no, ma'am. I always say that, like, you can be such an inspiration because you've gone through these experiences. And I used to think that being vulnerable and sharing your story is a weakness, and, it makes you not appear to have strength. But it's the opposite because, like you said, like, you can relate to other people who are possibly going through the same things, you know what I mean? And that's how we connect as humans, I think, when you're vulnerable, to say, hey, I went through the dirt, but,
Yeah,
I'm still worthy of love and healing myself. So,
for sure.
yeah.
And if we all walking around with facades on, with masks on, like, who does that really help? You know what I'm saying? You walking around, you looking good, but you suffering on the
No.
inside. But literally, the person that you hanging out with that looks just as good is also suffering on the inside. So, what are we
Right.
really attaining? What are we really striving for? Like, do we really want to be better, better versions of ourselves? Do we really want to feel better? Do we only just want to look good? Like, what are we really, really doing? So, I'm gonna continue doing my work and what I feel is my calling. And again, I just want to thank you for being brave enough to share your story because you've been through some things. And again, if you look at people, you wouldn't be like, she went through that. Like, why would that happen to her? Outside of your outward appearance, you are one of the most sweetest people I have ever met in my life. And like, to learn your story, I'm just like, I admire how thoughtful, how genuine, and how sweet and caring that you still
I
are
really
in
appreciate
words to people. I was not like that. Like, again, we were very opposite. You know what I'm saying? You were, and that don't mean you couldn't turn up. Like, let's be real. Like, we both are from the hood.
it.
You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
Don't be
We
fooled.
from the hood, yeah.
But
Let's not get it twisted.
don't get it twisted, fool. But I admired that about you, how you were still able to show kindness to people. And that was not something that I knew at that time. And I'm still working on it, you know what I'm saying, to this day. But I know for sure my son, and maybe you can speak to this too, has softened me up a little bit too.
Yeah, I think that happens when we have children. They hold up a mirror and they just make you want to be better people, all together, in every area of your life. I certainly have noticed a difference in myself since becoming a mom
Yeah.
too. Not that we weren't working on it before, but
No, it's a different level when you have children, when you want to be an intentional parent and raise productive members of society. You want them to be good people. You can't just say
right,
you do this, but don't do what mommy's doing if you still acting up. Like, we're not gonna
right.
get it right. Because I love for my child to see me in all colors, okay? Happy, sad, mad, glad, frustrated. He'd be like, Mommy, are you mad? I said, why you ask me that? He said, because your face looked mad. He asked me that this
Yeah,
evening about
actually,
something that happened this morning. He didn't ask me then. He got good emotional intelligence. He asked me this evening. I was like, why
wow.
you say that? He was like, oh, just because your face looked mad. I said, yeah, I was a little upset.
These kids are upgraded, ain't they? Version 2.0.
For real, these pandemic kids. So let's get into your story, Ameera. Let's get into the transparency of it all. Take us back to little Ameera, little Mimi, like they used to call you and your family.
Little Mimi. Okay, so, um, well, my mother was a single mom of 5 children, and I was the baby girl, kind of, I would say, the black sheep of the family. Not that I want to call myself that, but just different, never really fitting in too much. And my mom was always, struggling. You know how it can be if you're a single
Yeah.
mother, let alone with one child, but she had 5, and she had her own wounds trying to figure life out and had us. So because everything wasn't together in life. That kind of opened us up to things that could possibly happen. And I remember, set aside from the trauma that can happen with just being, one of five, with a mom trying to figure it out. The first traumatic experience for me was being molested by my biological father at the age of 5. At the age of 12, my father told me that he wanted to take my virginity, and I ended up having to get a restraining order on him, because, of course, I didn't understand everything that was going on at that time, but I knew a child knows that it's not right. That's not something you should do. And, of course, my dad, still to this day, will not tell the truth. He didn't tell the truth. And,
your dad still living?
He is still living. He's still living. Bless his soul. I think he's hanging on by a thread, charm, but bless his soul.
To be with that on his conscience.
I know. Yeah. A lot of guilt there. But, and that's another story. Because to me, that's simple. You know what I mean? It's like you could just return from your ways, apologize, and then just be better. But I don't know why it doesn't click. But that's another story. But, yeah, so that was the first experience of trauma for me. Kids are very resilient, kind of brushing it off. I'm sure I accumulated some subconscious trauma with brushing it off. My mom then gets married when I was about 12, 13, to a man who I lived with my mom and her husband, he now has passed for 8 years by myself. And throughout the 8 years, I was also physically abused, mentally abused, and also sexually abused until the age of 20, where I had to run away from home just to get out of the situation. And this is different for me. I must say that I have never shared this story to anyone, not anyone. And I know you know some bits and pieces because we were friends, but this is the first time I'm actually
I didn't know something. Okay, thank you for sharing this. If you need to pause at any time, we get it, we respect it. Thank you for sharing this.
Thank you. Yes. Well, it is emotional, but I've done so much of the work now that I feel like it is time for me to move from a place of empowerment. And I understand what my mission is. I didn't necessarily so much before, but I need to speak and share. As you said, your story is, I like to say your story is your saving grace and someone else's saving grace. So yeah.
I'm proud of you.
And the rabbit hole goes much deeper, but that is the nutshell of it.
Let me read a couple comments before you continue. Beth said, most of us do not look like we've been through. So true. Love your transparency, Soliel. Thank you, Karen. She is resilient. She was our guest last month. She's actually a therapist, and she says, I'm so sorry. Thank you for sharing that sentiment. Healing my people. Hey, Felicia. She says, thank you for your bravery to share. We are holding space for you. We absolutely are holding space for you. Thank you, Felicia.
Thank you.
She said, let me see. Giovanni says, sending you virtual hugs, and healing is here. Felicia said, I love that, y'all. Thank y'all. I love the Soul Tribe family.
Thanks.
Proud of you, girl.
Thank you, boo. Appreciate that.
Cool. So, okay, little Mimi, that's where a lot of your trauma started, which is very, 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 very deep. Again, that goes back to my sentiment that I shared about just not knowing that. I knew some of it, but even hearing you say that now, it's just like, wow. For you to be the person that you were and how you were showing up when we met, I'm just like, I would never assume that you would go through things like that. And so take us back to after that. I know you said up until 20. We met in your
like 21. Okay.
Yeah.
21, 22.
So
14 years later, here we are.
Right. That's so crazy. That is so crazy to me. So I know that dating after sexual abuse, again, trigger warning to anybody here, can be difficult. And I was with you during some of those times going through certain relationships. Is that where you want to continue, or do you want to go somewhere else right after that?
Sure. Well, this is a segue into that, because you were saying that you definitely didn't look like what you went through. And I think what
Caroline's here.
happens a
Hey,
lot of times,
Caroline.
oh, hey, Carol.
Mhm.
I think a lot of times what happens, and I heard you say we have a therapist in the house, and she could probably attest to this, but when you go through such deep trauma, the brain tends to shut off certain memories and it will protect you from certain things so that you don't go crazy, you know what I mean? Have a mental breakdown. So I think that's what happened with me. You know, when I was 20, I'm like, I'm finally over this. I'm ready to live. I'm ready to experience life. And I just kind of like pushed it all down. I didn't want to think about it. I didn't want to look at it. I just wanted to live my life. And I think that's what like helped me to be able to do all the things that I was doing. But I didn't know that I had some blinders or things that were going to
Yeah.
blindside me. And like you said, relationships, I think that was the thing that really kind of brought everything to the surface for me. And of course, I didn't know that then, but I was attracted like a moth to a flame to the exact person that mirrored my trauma growing up. And I wondered why I had such an intense level of attraction for whoever it was. But of course, in hindsight, I know now. But essentially, you know, with sexuality and getting relationships and giving my body away, like I, and this is hard for me to say, but it wasn't something that I viewed as to be sacred or I honored because other people were always doing that to me. You know what I'm saying? So it was just a thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And for me, of course, being a good person at my core, I was looking for love. So I then met my first husband. We won't say his name in this interview, but that relationship brought me to my knees completely. And, you know, I know this word narcissist or narcissistic personality disorder, it gets thrown around a lot and we can quickly label people as having such. But in a relationship, I will say that it mirrored certain traits like that and certainly certain traits that I went through growing up.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
that
I
was
heard
the
you.
first relationship of among many.
Yeah. I heard you mention, it's funny because I'm just like memories are playing back in my head now of us hanging out and, you know, us meeting each other's exes and all of that stuff. It's personal stuff, of course, that I won't share. But I was thinking earlier when you were talking about the black sheep, I actually went through your YouTube channel. I was scrolling. I'm like, this girl is making some deep content. So I'm looking forward to going back and like seeing what you're talking about. And I did see, I didn't get a chance to watch it just yet, but one of the videos had the title about, you know, being the black sheep. Have you had trouble? I feel like I know what the answer is, but I would love for you to share more. Connecting even as an adult, even where you are now, because you've since moved. I live in Virginia. You don't live in this state anymore. And so physically being away, have you found it hard to reconnect or connect with your family? Like, what is your family relationship like?
Well, you know, I always say, and like you said, we're still growing on this journey, and trust me, I'm a work in progress every day.
Mm-hmm.
But I have certainly reached a place of love and compassion in my heart, or where I want to be like that. My mother, she knows I'm having this
You told her?
conversation, and I think,
Oh,
yes, yes,
wow.
yes,
See, that speaks to what kind of
definitely.
person you are. Like, what made you tell her?
Well, because I want to let her know, and thank you, by the way, but I want to let her know that, hey, you know, I'm going to share, but I'm not sharing from a place to bash you, but from a place of transparency and authenticity, like you said. But she knows, and, you know, a part of her, my mom still beats herself up to this day. Like, she has a lot of guilt about it. And I think the difference between my mom and my dad is my mom apologized. She was sorry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I've forgiven her. I mean, it's a long road. This is, you talking, I'm 35 now. That's 15 years of working on the healing process. So, you know, I've forgiven her, and I understand that my mom had her own traumatic experiences as a child as well. Like, I don't know if you've ever read that book, You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay, but in the book, she says, think about your parents as a 5-year-old and how they were also scared, just like you were scared as a 5-year-old. And then I have to imagine, what if I did have children in my first marriage? They probably would have gone through some trauma too. So even though this is like, you know, but my relationship with her is better. And I think, you know, the real word of repentance, as people say, like say repentance is basically, you know, don't do it anymore. You know,
Yeah.
apologize. And that's it. So that's her. And then with my lovely sisters, you know, our relationship has gotten better. You know, they were, and I don't want to tell their story because that's something for them to share.
Mm-hmm.
We were all very strong and resilient, beautiful women, you know.
Y'all are.
And I have nothing but love for them. You know what I mean? We've had our, you know, ups and downs as any sister trying to figure it out, especially with as much as we've gone through.
There's
So
five girls, right?
so there's 3 on my mom's side, and then I have another sister on my dad's side.
So when you said 5 earlier, were you talking about dad's side too?
Just well, it's a really big family. I was talking about 5 children altogether, including me, on my mom's side.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got it. Okay.
And my mom also had a son too.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read a couple comments real quick. Thank you again for sharing, my love. So proud
I'm
of
just
you.
talking.
Caroline waved at us. Azure says, that's right. We shut off from traumatic experiences. She says, a therapist told me that years ago. It's so true. Brittany said, forgiveness and grace is so freeing. It is freeing. It is hard though. It is so hard. And maybe it's easier for other people, you know, to do it. And maybe that's why some of those same people say things like, just get over it. And I wonder if people like that have ever been through deep, complex trauma. Complex trauma means it's repeated. You know, it's maybe the same thing happening over and over, or different types of trauma building on that first brick of trauma. So with that, it's like to hear people say, just get over it. That level of pain and betrayal and trauma is not something you go to sleep and you wake up and you forget about. You just don't. It's not the same thing as our brain blocking things off, because it's still there, actually. You know, it's just somewhere in a tiny crevice in your brain somewhere, waiting to be triggered by an event, by a smell, by a person, by a location, by a memory. Literally, you just don't know when that Pandora's box is going to be opened up. And, you know, when me and Ameera were at the start of our friendship, we both actually were going through some mental health crisis things. Like, I had my own stuff going on that I didn't even realize I was at the height of at the time. And I think seeing some of the things Ameera was going through woke some stuff up inside of me for some reason. And I don't regret any of it at all, you know, but that just goes to show like my level of care for you then and still now. But I went through my own stuff that opened up some traumas and some old layers and Pandora's boxes in my brain that I did not even know was there, you know. So I think that a lot of people, and I've said this in a prior episode before, talking about teenagers, young adults going off to college, be mindful of the 20-something-year-olds, especially your early 20s in your life, whether they're children's, brothers, sister, cousins, whatever, especially when they have major changes in their lives, or when they're not sleeping well, or when they're working too much. Keep your eye on them. If they start to change and you like, something ain't right, like Soliel not herself. My sister said that now that we're in our 30s, she was like, I knew around that time something wasn't right. I just couldn't put my finger on it. But she was also in college, so she didn't have an eye on me every single day. And I say all that to say that, you know, when you've been through trauma, especially as a child, even in infancy, toddler stages, grade school ages, middle school, high school, young adult, that stuff catches back up with you. And when you start to live your life, how we woo, you know, we young, we think we grown, we new into the world. One day you're going to crash, and I don't want to say burn, but one day it is going to come back up to the surface. So when people say things like, you know, just get over, I hate to hear that, because that to me, I'm like, you ain't never been through nothing worth, you know, you being able to tell somebody you need to just get over it. Because some of those things you really have to do some deep seated root soul spiritual work to truly unearth, and then start to figure out, okay, how did I end up in this situation? what's the pathology here? If it's a family member that's involved, what did they go through? Like you said earlier, you know, just your parents being involved, what was their trauma? And it's not excusing them, but it's like it's taking a holistic approach to what you've been through to try to make some sense of it, because our brain wants to make sense of what of life and what we go through. You know what I'm saying? So kudos to you, because we are going to talk about, you know, some of the work that you've done. And I mean, I know they all want to hear it, because it's like to be violated by people that you trusted, people that brought you into this world, which I can also attest to, maybe not in the same way, but it can be damaging, because it changes your whole perspective on life, on people, how you trust folks. And so can you talk a little bit about that? Like, have you been somebody that has struggled with trust, just with the world, with people, with relationships? Because this was your father, which I don't even think I knew that, and a stepfather, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
First,
I know I went on a tangent. I'm so sorry.
Oh no, tangent on. But I remember us together, and I remember the state that we were both in. You know what I mean? And to touch on what you were saying, like when you're young, maybe you think you know it all. You know what I mean? You just want to have fun, but the body remembers the trauma. You know what I'm saying? And when you least expect it, and I'm going to touch on the trust thing too. Keep it in the story.
Yeah. Talk about what you want to talk about, child. This is your flow.
But I just want to chime in on that. Like, what will happen? What happened to me is my body reacted to all the trauma, and I know that you can relate to this too. I started getting panic attacks.
I had one yesterday, Ameera. Ain't that crazy?
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. I'm gonna let you finish, and I'll tell my story with that.
Okay. We're gonna have to talk. But the body remembers the trauma, and I think that's what happened to me. Is like I was forced to look at myself and forced to heal myself, because it got to a point where either it was like life and death for me, you know what I mean? And if someone says, oh, I'm feeling depressed, no, it's not just something that you can just be like, especially if you've gone through something. Depression is a very, very real thing. And I think it takes, you know, people understanding the mindfulness of it, that if someone is really, really depressed, then they're probably going through something, and they probably do need help with something. So yeah, I just want to touch on that, and I can swing back to that in a minute. But in terms of trust, absolutely, definitely. You know, I didn't really trust anyone, and it was hard to trust people because you don't receive a manual. And I was also getting with the same people that mirrored the things that I went through. So it was like reinforcement not to trust anyone. Not only did I not trust other people, but I also didn't trust myself. And even in the relationship that I have now, him and I, like, yes, God gave me a beautiful relationship, but still, like, it's a work in progress. I had to build a level of trust with him, because he wasn't doing the same things, and he had enough love and patience with me to be like, no, I'm not. You know what I'm saying? And it was a hump. You know what I mean? So that's something I'm getting to, and I've cultivated. But it first started with learning to trust myself before I could even trust anyone else in another relationship. And you know what happened, and I don't want to just keep talking on. So you know, girl, I'm talking too much.
Girl, you don't be quiet and talk.
Okay. Okay, so like I got tired of giving my body away, tired of, you know, being in unhealthy relationships. And it got to a point where I had no choice but to look at myself, because I was so depressed. I was sleeping for 16 hours a day. I was suicidal. Excuse me for saying that, but it's true. I was suicidal, and people from the outside looking in, they didn't know what the crap was going on. The people that I was laying down with, they didn't know what was going on. They thought that I'm just being fast out here. Not that they thought that. I don't know for sure, but
and you know,
because I never
told ask no questions, because they just try to get a piece. You know,
they don't have no questions. you know, not that I was a thotty or anything, but
Child, we all got here because everybody had sex. Let's just be real.
you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But you know, it got to the point where I ended up in a mental institution. And because I was so depressed, and I thought I was doing the right thing by going there, but even that place traumatized me even more. So at this point, I said I had to really look at myself. You know, I had to make a choice, a conscious choice, to say, hey, Ameera, this is not a game. You can't tiptoe and play around with depression. You can't play around with suicide, girl. You suicidal, you depressed. Do you want to live or do you not want to live? Okay? Because you can't be like, oh, I'm suicidal, but you ain't making no moves. And I don't mean to make it sound so harsh, but that's how I had to be with myself.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I had to make the decision. And that decision started with no more relationships.
There you go.
For about 3 years, I solely was just working on myself, healing. And it started with doing the healing work. And this for me, you know, meant little by little every day, even though I was sleeping 16 hours a day. That meant going to therapy. I'm a firm believer in therapy. That meant reading books. That meant getting closer to God. That meant prayer. That meant yoga, energy clearing, just a lot of different modalities that work for me. Chanting, journaling, you know what I mean? That really just helped me to go and look at myself and just start the healing journey.
I'm so proud of you, girl. You just we've always had this connection, and just to know that we're in a different space now, it makes it just different. You know what I'm saying? It just makes me happy. Because, you know, a lot of us go through stuff, right? But a lot of people don't want to be on the other side. And that's what this podcast is about. It's like just talking about getting to the other side. Not because we're so evolved, not because we're so healed, because it is a process. But we trying, okay? We want something different. And you get to a point in life, like you said, where you're like, yo, something has to give. And I'm actually in that space in my own life right now. Once again, been here before, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully I don't get there again, but who knows? I don't know what's in store, you know, but shout out to the people that come to that realization, and they got to get in the mirror with themselves and be like, this is not working. Something has to change. Ain't nobody come save me. I got to save myself. What is it that I need to do? What is it that I can do? And like you said, there are so many modalities out there, and people just have to find what works for them, but just tap in and figure out something. Talk to somebody and stop acting like everything's okay if it's not, because it's okay for things to not be okay. And there are so many people in the world that love you, that want to help you. Maybe you have to discern and figure out who those people are that needs to be on that journey with you. But at the end of the day, it's an inside job, you know? We got to do it for ourselves. I'm going to read some comments real quick because the people is tapping in, child, okay? They are tapping in.
I got to share something.
Okay. Y'all talking tonight. What's up, Soul Tribe? Shout out to the Soul Tribe. Yes, Brittany says yes, it is a hard thing for sure. Cage Free said, proud of you, sister. Brittany says for sure, but looking at people like children helps a lot. It really does, Brittany. It really does. Shout out to, that's Brittany Ross. She's Brittany Ellerby now. Karen of Curl House says, this is truly inspiring. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Let's see here. Growth is infinite. Hey, sis. Thank you for the love. Felicia says, being healed is our birthright. It will happen if we're open to it, for sure. Somebody dropped one of my favorite books, The Body Keeps the Score. Yes, that is one of my, that's a good book. Tap into that book if you have not tapped into that book. Oh my gosh. It made me look at mental health and mental illness in such a total different way. Growth is infinite. She says, I want to acknowledge my beautiful, glorious sisters. We appreciate you. How sweet. Asha says, that's right, the body keeps the score. She says, I love the Soul Seed conversations. Thank you. I love y'all. They saying hey to each other in the comments. I love it. Shout out to PA. Shout out to New York. Shout out to y'all. What's up, Robin? She said, this is so on point for my life right now. I love that for you. Thank you for being here. And everything happens the way it's supposed to. Shout out to the folks watching the replay. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay at the bottom. Ashley says, we get tired of not understanding ourselves and our actions. Listen, and you know what I find so sad is some people don't get tired of it. And I'm really praying that they get to a point they just get tired of it, because we really have to keep going on this journey to be better for ourselves and other people.
Yes.
I'm gonna let you show me what you had to show me. I'm gonna read these comments real quick. She says, there is a damper, certain unhealthy energy over the planet right now. These are not individual experiences. Yes, thank you for sharing that. Somebody mentioned rebirth tools. It's a lifestyle change. Caroline says she's proud of you. Shout out to you, your new baby. Did you see her new baby?
I know, so beautiful.
Azure says, I'm so proud of you and love you for sharing. Aw, it's the love for me. I love it. Growth is infinite. She says, we must be there for one another. Another spirit is teaching us to come together. If people didn't learn anything from the pandemic, what did we learn? Like, for real. Hey, Selena. Brittany says, love this. So proud of you both. Thank you, my love. Okay, I think I'm done, y'all. And shout out to y'all. We love y'all for interacting. Somebody said some people don't get tired. Yes. What did you have to show me, my love?
Oh, me? Oh, girl. No, I had to check something. I'm sorry.
Oh, you fine. I thought you said you had to show me something. Mm-hmm. Okay. Cage Free says, y'all are some beautiful spirits. What do people say?
Kindred spirits.
They say,
I love you.
What they say? You are but a reflection of us, my love. Okay, so Ameera, I want to talk to you more about what some people call, do you hear that echo? You hear it? Or is it just me?
I don't hear nothing.
Do we sound fine, y'all? Because I hate when I go and I download these and the audio be, we're going to be on a new platform, so y'all just hang on with us. How do we sound, guys? You hear it? Okay. Ameera, do me a quick favor. I just want to see something. Put your mute your screen real quick. I mean your mic.
You know, I'm trying to figure this out.
Right under your head, it should be a microphone, a video, emoji button. You see it? Okay, you muted now. Okay. All right. When you want to talk, just come off mute. I hate that we have to do it like that, but you have the echo when you talk. Okay. All right. I wanted to ask you about what some people call like a mental break, because you had talked about like having to go to the mental health institution. What was it that made you take yourself there? Because I've actually heard of people having to be sent. You know what I'm saying? Like, I actually have talked to a few people on this show that said they took themselves. And so I've always wanted to hear somebody talk about their experience while being there, but also you said it re-traumatized you. Because when I think about, that sounds like the scariest place on earth to me. And so when you say it re-traumatized you, talk to us about that for people who don't know what that experience is like.
Of course. So, you know, I was always one to be attracted to therapy. I'm not really sure why. Even when I left home the first time I was in therapy. But this particular time, it just really boiled down to if I wanted to stay in it or if I wanted to get better. And I knew that where I wasn't going to get me there, and it couldn't go on like that. So I had to make a decision. And even if I didn't know what that decision was, I had to make some sort of decision. Now, this story is kind of split up in two because in Virginia, when I left my first marriage, before leaving, I went to the psych ward, and this is in Virginia. Now, maybe it's getting better. I haven't been there in a really long time, since about 2017 or whatever. But the mental health clinic in Virginia was not very kind to me. They really just wanted to feed you a bunch of medications. Like, I remember for me, they gave me like Risperdal, which is for hearing voices, and I wasn't hearing voices. And I remember the lady actually asking me, did I hear voices? It was a very weird experience, to the point where I wanted to leave. And they put me in a cold, dark room by myself, and like I was getting bit by bed bugs. It was very strange. It was also very spiritual. it's kind of like, you know, people talk about, you know, dying and quote unquote going to hell, but this was like a kind of like a hell on earth. Like my mind created that experience in my realm, and I experienced it in my reality there. So it was strange. And I remember the guy saying to me, like looking me dead in my eyes, and he was like, Amira, there is only one. And you know, I really feel like it was something to trigger that spiritual process in me. And we could talk about spiritual awakening too, because throughout this entire process, I was also going through that. Um, so yeah, that was weird. But the second time in the psych ward was when I actually moved out of Virginia, because if you're from Virginia, you know that Virginia has a lot of history. And when we're talking about energy, depending on the location, you know what I mean? Certain places it can be a lot more dense than other places. And I know Virginia did carry a lot of dense, heavy energies, especially spiritually. So for me, it actually helped me to move out of my home state to start my healing process. And that is when I moved in with my sister Kristen, God bless her soul. I don't know if you see her, maybe she's not, but bless her soul, I love her. And she actually let me live with her. And that is when I was sleeping 16 hours a day, decided to put myself in yet another psych ward. But the energy in Denver versus Virginia were completely different. And even though the psych ward never really helped me out with depression, I can tell you that the experience there was a lot better than what I had in Virginia.
Oh, there I go. Can you hear me? Thank you for sharing that. There was a young lady that I wanted to have on our show. She actually lives in Colorado or somewhere out there, child. And we were talking about her experience. She wasn't yet ready to come on the show. But I said show. Am I going to have a show one day? Because this is just a pod. I'm going to have a show. We're going to speak it into existence. But she actually was supposed to come on and talk about her experience in a mental hospital. So that's why I really wanted to bring that up, because, you know, I'm just curious by nature. And to hear that, it's just like, wow, you know, we assume that there is one antidote to a problem, right? And so you think if somebody has a mental health thing going on or depression or whatever it is, well, maybe they should go there. But then, like you said, you were re-traumatized, but you were also going through something else. You were having a spiritual awakening, which some people, and I'm going to speak for myself, I feel like that could be very closely related to what people call being crazy, things like that. It can be very confusing. And so when you're going through that and you're going through a mental health crisis at the same time, I can only imagine what tricks, you know, your mind may have been playing on you. And that is something that people don't talk about. So I'll just share a personal bit of my story. We touched on it earlier, but with my panic attacks, well, prior to the panic attacks, I was diagnosed. So I got a mental health evaluation because I didn't know what was going on with me, child. I just know I woke up in the middle of the night one night and my heart was racing. I felt numb. I was saying crazy stuff like to my family. And before that happened, I went and I got into bed with my sister. I just don't feel right. Like something just feels off. And I got into bed with her, and I love to cuddle. I used to always cuddle with my twin and with my mom. So I'm like behind her. She looking like, what is going on? Well, I just don't feel right. So she said, it's okay, you know, just lay there. And my symptoms when I have my panic attacks, again, that numbness is kind of going in and out of my entire body. It is very, very weird, very, very strange. And, you know, they diagnosed me at that time with depression, but that was a psychosis episode is what they called it, right? And so psychosis is like sometimes you just, your reality may be altered. You know, you're seeing things that may not be there, or like I can look at this thing in my office right now, but in my mind it's distorted. You know what I'm saying? It looks like what it looks like, but it looks a little weird, like a cartoon or like one of the silly mirrors or something like that. That's the best way I can explain it. But essentially what happened is my trauma was catching up to me. And then there was some things that was going on with you, my best friend at the time, that I was just like, something ain't right with my friend. Like, I can't put my finger on it. I was so concerned. I remember watching a show that night, and it was actually Titanic. I watched that movie, went to bed, everything was cool. Woke up in the middle of the night, and that's how I was feeling. They had to call the ambulance, and I wouldn't go because once them lights, they started shining lights on me and stuff, I just like kind of snapped out of whatever was happening with me. And I'm like, I'm not going nowhere with y'all. But that was the start of what I like to call my mental health journey. I want to say I was around, because you're a little older than me, I want to say I was like 19 or 20 at that time. Time frame may be off. I see a comment right you, because I'm not very well versed on psychosis, to be honest, but she says psychosis is also a lack of oxygen to the brain. Girl, something was happening. I'm really not sure, but they had diagnosed me with depression mixed with psychosis. And I have been learning some things because I'm still in therapy as well, off and on. I don't have like any formal mental health diagnosis or anything like that. Just like you said earlier, doing better. You know, I'm managing my life and my mental health in a way different way. I'm eating better. I'm sleeping better. Managing my time. I know that because of the personal traumas that I've been through, that I just can't handle a full plate. I remember being younger when we used to hang out, and I used to just be doing this, here, there, 3, 4, 5 jobs, traveling, modeling, socializing, and that's not my life no more. I can't handle it. I don't want to handle it. I'm an empath. I do way better now with blocking certain things, you know, as far as people's energy and stuff like that. But at the time, I didn't. I was absorbing everything. I had bad social anxiety. I couldn't go to parties, and because of other traumas that have happened at parties as a younger person, you know, I just had so much, and I'm just very sensitive, you know, and so I know myself. And so boundaries are a big thing for me. Environment is a big thing for me, but I'm just proud of like where I'm at now, because I know my triggers. I know what works for me. I could be a little bit of a quirky person, if you will, with people that are close to me, because I have certain things I'm just like, you can't do that, you can't say that, you know, if I'm not feeling right, I'm gonna leave, whatever. But I know myself, and it's come to self-awareness, you know. And I just wanted to share that because I just remember like some things that you were going through, and we'll talk about a little bit about this too. There was a national TV show that you went on. I remember it was right around this time, and some different things were happening with you there. And again, just like concerned about my friend, but I also had my own stuff going on too. So in our 20s, I say all that to say that we both experienced so much, and we're kind of at the peak, you know, what they call it in your youth, it's your prime. We were in our prime, but we were shining. We was looking good. We was modeling, bodies all tight and snatched. You on mute, what you say?
Oh, I say you still looking good.
You too, boo. Thank you. But you know, things have changed, okay, as we get older, and we done have babies, you know. So I just wanted to share that piece. And so again, for us to reconnect and be more whole versions of ourselves, it just makes me happy, you know. And I hope that it can be an example for other Black women and just people and women in general to continue the journey and continue doing the work. We're still on this journey, but life just looks a lot different, and our parenting styles look a lot different than what they would have looked like had we not taken the time to really start soul searching and healing ourselves and trying to figure out, okay, how do I become a different version of myself? Because I have no other choice. So I had to share that personal piece. I don't think I've ever shared some of those things. So thank you for listening.
I'm so proud of you. Like, just like watching your story and your journey, and just like you make it look so easy. And I know some days it probably definitely is not easy, but all the work that you put in and the many people that you're inspiring, and you ain't seen none yet, girl. God gonna take you to the woo. But I'm just so thankful to see it, and you inspire me for sure, definitely. Like the level of growth, you know what I mean? Like to see who you were then, always still a beautiful person in your heart, but just to get over those things, and like you said, you still were a work in progress, but just to, you know, hold that space for yourself in authenticity, that is resilience. So honor to you.
Thank you, my love. Thank you. I'm gonna read some comments. Growth is Infinite says, Malika, I keep saying growth is infinite. She says, been working in the mental health field for over 20 years, also in the psych clinic. I didn't know that. I know this all too well. I'm so glad you're on the other side of that experience. I worked to be compassionate. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. We need to get you on the podcast. She says, therapy is for everyone, even therapists. We invest in ourselves, meaning our healing. Yes. Oh, I love to hear that. Thank you for sharing that. I heard somebody very well known recently, well, not recently, but they said that our world is over therapized. I had to go look that shit up. I was like, however, there are different modalities out there, but we as a people, especially Black people, it is in our DNA. If you have not heard of the word, what is it called? Intergenerational trauma, child. We all have that as a people. That's just our baseline, okay? Then on top of that, you build on our own personal experiences, our own family's pathology, what we got going on in our personal bloodline. We are some resilient people, but I ain't even gonna say the other thing I was gonna say because my mouth is terrible at times, but I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna reserve that. I'm gonna think it in my head, but we done been through some ish, okay? And so at some point, it is our personal responsibility to ourselves, our world, and our children, our community, to rework that thing, to rewire that thing. So I'm gonna get off my tangent, honey. This is Ameera's moment. She says, Felicia says, mind body connection is scientific. She said, we still snatching, period. Your sister Cage Free says you ladies have so much courage. Thank you. Felicia says healing lineages. Oh, yes, 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 yes. Motion Pick Ish. Hey, they says you have so much courage. Thank you. Giovanni says such beautiful spirits and stories. Thank you both for sharing. Thank you. Azure says that's because therapy has been taboo amongst us. And he was a grown man, very respected, well-known, and I was disappointed by that. He gave his reasons for saying it, but I was just like, that's dangerous what you're saying there. She says, sis, that over therapized quote, I have thoughts. I'm sure you do. What's up, Banks? Giovanni says, yes, so true. My Grandmother's Hands is a beautiful book breaking down intergenerational drama and healing. Let me write that down. Look, let's write that down, Ameera. My Grandmother's Hands. Okay. All right. I know we got to get up off of here soon. I want to talk to you about your spirituality, your journey, the tools, your self-help, and whatever else you would like to go into. Transmuting your trauma. I love how you put that. So the floor is yours, boo.
Okay, so spirituality. I think that the main point to remember for me personally and to share is that all of these experiences were for a reason. It might not seem like it. Yes, it was painful. And no, of course, no one should have to go through any of the things that I went through. But like you said, what happens is it pushes you into a deeper layer of yourself. And I heard you say earlier, it makes you know yourself, know that self. And I think sometimes that pain has the ability to do that, you know what I mean? To really push you back into that solitude within yourself. And I remember going through all of that. I mean, of course, I always had this personal relationship with God growing up as a child. That's the thing that got me through everything in my sanity. But, you know, being young, we're doing whatever we're doing, you know what I mean? But I remember sitting there and I heard this loud voice within me said, who is God? And that led me on a journey in the midst of all the struggling and trying to figure out how to heal. I started to really like research first externally, and then it led me inwardly. But I was raised Christian, and first I approached it from Christianity, which I was raised in, and you know, just reading my Bible every day, speaking in tongues, and just really trying to figure out who God was. And you know, of course, God is the infinite. God is all. So God can show up in many different ways. And if that's what leads you to God, then that is a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? And God is in everything. But I was approaching it from a very fearful place of woe is me, and I will go to hell if I do or don't do this. That's my baby. But what ended up happening was through that, it was a lot of fear that's going on. And when you talk about the spiritual, you also begin to tap into, you know, the unknown in terms of, like you said, you were seeing things, you know what I mean? But these things can be real. And this is our minds, like, creating this reality. Like, I was creating a reality from a very dark, unhealed place. I was creating my reality of believing in hell and fear, and from that place of Christianity, I was creating that too. And it was a very scary place for me. And God began to take me into a deeper level of trust in terms of, you know, at its core, what is God really? God is love. God is in every single human being, in every single plant, in every single inanimate object. And I began to receive downloads of God, the Most High Source God. And we were born and created in perfection, in God's image. And God is the walking, living breath that gives us life. So while these things were painful for me, it pushed me into this awakening, into really learning and knowing myself, and no, I'm not done yet. I'm not perfect by any means, and I'm on this journey every single day. But that is the spiritual awakening I'm talking about, where we really know who God is within our heart, and we trust and we build this personal relationship to say that, hey, our mind is very powerful. And not only can we like break generational curses and things that were put on our family, the trauma that's been happening for generation after generation after generation. And I think certain souls are born into these dark families, into these dark densities. And like someone said, we are in this together. I'm not the only person who has done this. We on this planet right now, we are at a point where the whole entire planet, even if you can't see it, we're ascending. And that means we're going into a higher place of love. So all of this fear and darkness is crumbling down. And that took for us, the warriors of God, of the light in our hearts, to do the work within ourselves so that we can show up from a place of healing and wholeness, and then also go out and spread and share together so that we can do this together and raise the vibrations of the planet and move into the kingdom of heaven on earth, which is what is happening right now. We are bringing the kingdom of heaven here on earth. It's not some far else out there place. It's in our minds, and it's in our relationships, and it's in our everyday walk. So I'm just so thankful, and I've gotten to a place where I have surrendered. You know what I mean? We want so many things in life. We want to be this person. We worry about who's looking at us. We worry about this success or that success. And of course, God wants us to be happy. But I think the main key is surrendering. You know what I mean? So I'm at this place where I just want to be of service and a vessel as much as I can be, and use that story of resilience in any way that God sees fit. So, yeah.
I am so proud of you and thankful for you sharing that, because to see where you are now and just how you've transformed your idea of what love is, what God is, what hell is, what surrendering is. These are all things that people think, some people, and experience, and they don't talk about it. They don't talk about the way that fear is instilled into us at such a young age, and quite honestly, how it can alter our brains. And you lead and love and search and live in a state of fear. And who wants to do that? That's actually been something I've been dealing with too. Is as courageous and confident as people have seen me to be. Like, I've had to get over a lot of fear, and I'm still working through that. I'm all of those things. You know what I'm saying? And so, trying to work through that and get rid of other people's ideals and their spirituality and what they say this process and this healing, this is supposed to look like. It's my journey. And so I'm so glad to see that, like, you're coming from a place of love and not fear. And that's a brave thing to do, because no matter how people show up, if you pay attention, you can kind of see, where their actions, what place they're coming from. And a lot of people are walking and living in fear. And so shout out to you. Come on, baby. She want to come see her mommy. We about to get off soon, boy, I promise. So just seeing that in you, and how you've been able to work through everything that you worked through. You birthed in these babies. One thing I want to share, if it's okay, now that baby's in the room, about the first, or is it okay?
Go for it. Go for it.
Okay, we talked about miscarriages in your life before, and so that's why I shared earlier about just seeing you and your two beautiful girls and your marriage. You have wanted to be a mom for so long, and I remember thinking about your journey with your mom and the things that you've experienced, and I'm like, I can't believe she wanted to be a mama. Because for me, it was the opposite. I'm like, I don't want no kids. Like, I don't even see that for myself right now. But I've always admired that. Or they say hey to Nasa. Hey, beautiful.
Hey, Nasa.
you've always wanted to be a mom, and for you to go through those miscarriage experiences, I feel from what I know and what I've heard tonight that like you were ready finally. You know what I'm saying? For those beautiful babies to pass through you, and you instill all those values and important lessons that you've learned, and the love most importantly into those girls. So, and they look just like you, which is crazy to me. All of our kids look just like us, which is crazy. So yeah, just congratulations. And again, thank you for sharing your story.
Thank
I also
you,
wanted to
baby.
see if there's anything that you would like to share, that you wanted to share, you haven't been able to share yet, and I'll go on mute.
Oh, I love you. I love you so much, Soleil. Thank you for having me on. Um, if you guys love forever, if you guys, I'm not really active on Instagram as much right now. In the future, maybe I will be, but I am active on YouTube. And you can find me at Vibe Divine if you want to connect with me. But I'm just so grateful to be here, and I love you.
I love you too, honey, and I'm just over the moon that we finally got a chance to do this, and that you were receptive, you were open, and for whoever's lives that you were going to change as a result of your story. Some of y'all are watching the replay, and I do feel like I want to know this. I hinted on it earlier. If some of y'all might know Ameera from Richmond, Virginia, she was a model, she's a singer, a songwriter, and her talents actually led her to what was it, The Voice?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was on The Voice. So some of y'all in Richmond may know her from being on the scene in Richmond as a model and a singer. And then, like I said, she went there. So some of y'all might have saw her on TV. I'm not sure, but again, you just never know what people are going through. So even with all that personal, national success, what Ameera is saying to all of us is that spiritually and foundationally with her family, just coming from a place of love, that is her version of success. Being able to raise those babies, have a healthy mind, have a healthy relationship, and just to overcome those things and transmute everything that you've been through into something beautiful. That is what's important to you, and I love that. I also wanted to read a couple comments, and then we're gonna get up off the hill. Felicia says, amen, personal relationship with God. Azure says, yes, you are perfect. You're perfectly you. We are individually perfect. Felicia says, I say generational cycles, not curses. I like that. Page Free said, a word. Malika says, pain absolutely has the ability to turn to solitude. I appreciate your transparency. So many need healing from this experience, and your testimony is extremely powerful. Bless you, Queen. Love that. Felicia says, amen. Surrender, child. We need to do a whole episode on that because, yeah, we think we really doing something. It's like, child, we don't sit down well. You are this small in the grand scheme of things. Like, Mrs. Green, she says, this is the reason why I love to wear my resilient necklace, because you both are beautiful, resilient women. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Felicia says, it's your journey. Darina says, thank you, beautiful ladies. Thank you. And they were showing love to your beautiful baby girl. Malika says, these beautiful eyes reflected from mama to child. Yes. And my baby got the same eyes too. Our kid, that's so funny. Like, my son has my eyes, your girls have your eyes.
They always say the first kid looks like the spitting image of the mom.
Baby, that's exactly what happened over here. Is that what happened at your house?
Oh yeah, girl.
Love you too, Felicia. She says, love you both. Page Free says, love your testimony is beautiful. This was amazing, and everything I hope it would be and more. Any final words? What you want to share? How can we support you? What you want to tell the people? If there was anything that you could say from the rooftop that you want everybody to know about Ameera, what would you say?
Ameera is here. She is alive. She is thankful. If you want to find me, you can check me out on Vibe Divine, Divine with an EDEVINE, and just stay tuned. I am so hopeful and grateful for what God has in store. So you'll see me around these streets.
Caroline says, love y'all, enjoy listening. Thank you for being here, my love. Thank you for being a thriver, Ameera. Thank you for joining the Soul Seat. Thank you for being brave enough to share your story. We appreciate you lending us your heart and your transparency. And we love you, and we hope you keep shining and just keep those babies close, which I know you will, child. And continue loving on that good man of yours. Tell him that we love him for loving you and for being all he is, honey, because I know what you went through, child.
Right? Yes, thank you. There's some good men out here. That's my last thing I want to say. There is some good men out here. They not all bad apples.
Yes, yes, yes. I think that's it, child. But yeah, we're gonna be on YouTube. So y'all check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Share this episode with anybody that you think will love it. Thank you, my love. Go to your beautiful family. I'm gonna stay on for just a few more minutes and chat it up, wrap it up. Thank you again.
Thank you, lovely.
I love
you.
So
beautiful. Such a pleasure. Thank you. I love you.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Y'all, that was episode 23 of Soul Seat Conversations. Hit the X, girl. Hit the X. Come help the Lord.
Okay. Yes.
This was episode 23 of Soul Seat Conversations, a mental wellness podcast for humans on the go. My name is Soliel Lindsey. That was Ameera. How she said it, y'all? Duplante. I don't know. D. It's a D and a J. Jacobs. I do know that. We ain't gonna mess her name up. Such a beautiful soul, such a beautiful spirit. Now y'all see why I had her on the podcast. Again, if anything said here was helpful to you, inspirational, let us know in the comments. If you are watching the replay, hashtag replay in the comments. Also, if you made it to the very end on the replay, hashtag me. No, don't hashtag nothing, child. Leave some orange and yellow hearts down at the bottom. Those are our brand colors. We appreciate you. If you have your own personal resilient story that you want to share as it relates to mental health or mental wellness, you can email us at mystory@soulriseessentials.com. That's SOL Rise Essentials with an S.com. I will see y'all next month for episode 24. Everybody that's been on the podcast has been amazing, y'all. Shout out to the Soul Tribe, the best supporters ever. Y'all were really going off in those comments tonight, and we appreciate you. I'm sure Ameera appreciates you all for the love. If I told you to hit me up because I want you to be on the podcast, hit me up, okay? I'm trying to think, is there anything else? You can always shop soulriseessentials.com for affirmation and mental wellness apparel for your entire family. We do have resilient shirts. I ain't about to say all that again because you saw it at the beginning of the video. Okay, this has been Soleil. I will see y'all next month. Stay well, be well, and continue to shine your light. Peace, y'all.